In a desperate attempt to gain some traction for the movie The Marvels coming out this November, the Walt Disney Company decided it was in their interest to take their lowest performing Marvel show on Disney Plus, Ms. Marvel, and stick it on ABC. There's just one problem, and that is, well, we have the ratings now. That's right, folks. We have the ratings that nobody else is telling you. And Ms. Marvel, well, it managed to be defeated somehow by channels like Reel's channel and HGTV. No, not combined. They beat it individually. All right, folks, welcome back to another wonderful day here on the WDW Pro channel. Explaining entertainment, keeping you ahead of the culture curve. It's what we do each and every day. Michelle, a Force of Light, is here to help us do so. Michelle, welcome back to the channel.
Yes, always nice to be here.
Now, before we hop in, folks, we do need to take a moment for a programming notice. Today is a very big day, and we don't know what kind of big day it is yet because we are awaiting all of the news that will come out from the Disney earnings call. So if you are watching this video on the day upon which it releases, well, you want to tune in because the live coverage of the Disney earnings call begins at 3 p.m. Eastern Time right here on the WDW Pro channel. Then at 4 p.m., we will switch over to Valiant Renegade's channel for live coverage as the earnings call comes in. If you join my live stream, you will be automatically moved on over to Valiant Renegade's channel at the appropriate time, and I'll be switching over as well as we go hour to hour, wall to wall, covering everything that may come out. And folks, this could be a very big one. Now, today, Michelle, we're going to be talking about the fact that somebody out there decided it was a good idea to leak out that Disney has an artificial intelligence committee that they are using to look into ways to reduce their expenses when it comes to all of these creative shows that they're making. And perhaps that artificial intelligence committee is about reducing their creatives, period, that being the writers. This flies in the face of everything that the writer's strike is all about, and yet Disney is doing this. I wonder, I know I'm perhaps cynical and skeptical, but I wonder if someone didn't put this out there the day before the earnings call on purpose. I know. But let's read it, and then I want your take on this, Michelle. And folks, if you're wondering what does this have to do with Ms. Marvel, well, when we get to those ratings, you're not going to believe how bad they are. And if Disney's writers are giving them that level of anti-success, I'm not even going to say it's unsuccess. I'm not going to say it's failure. It's anti-success. It is in every way possible the opposite. Then it makes you wonder if Disney would not be better off with artificial intelligence. Just throwing that out there. No offense meant to any of you who are part of the strike, your average, everyday working Hollywooders who are working to do the gaffing or set up the custodial stuff with the sets. Understand all of that. Understand that you're just trying to make a living. No offense intended to you. This out of Reuters by Dawn Chmielewski. I hope I got that right. And Crystal Hu. Disney creates task force to explore artificial intelligence and cut cost sources. Maybe those sources wanted this out at this time. Who knows? This says Walt Disney has created a task force to study artificial intelligence and how it can be applied across the entertainment conglomerate, even as Hollywood writers and actors battle to limit the industry's exploitation of the technology. Launched earlier this year, before the Hollywood's writer's strike, the group is looking to develop AI applications in-house as well as from partnerships with startups. 3 sources told Reuters. As evidence of its interest, Disney has 11 current job openings seeking candidates with expertise in artificial intelligence or machine learning. The positions touch virtually every corner of the company, from Walt Disney Studios to the company's theme parks and engineering group, Walt Disney Imagineering. Folks, based on everything we're finding out about Walt Disney Imagineering, and we'll have plenty to cover soon enough, nobody wants to take those jobs. Let me tell you, stay as far away from WDI as you can. To Disney-branded television, the advertising team, which is looking to build a next-generation AI-powered ad system according to the job ad descriptions. Michelle, it goes on to basically talk about artificial intelligence. I think everybody out there gets the idea. It talks about the copyright with Mickey. We're not going to go into all that. And folks, Valiant Renegade's also covering this same topic at a far more in-depth, high-resolution level. But Michelle, I don't see any way for companies like Disney to stay away from artificial intelligence. I don't know how you can do that. It seems to me to be just as fruitless to try this, in terms of what the writers want, as it would have been 100 years ago to, for mathematicians to fight against calculators. I don't see that it can work. You know, as long as there's anyone out there on any part of this planet that goes with artificial intelligence, they're going to surpass the abilities of humans without artificial intelligence. It's a tool. So, what do you make of this? Do you think that Disney is in trouble with the writers now?
Well, I mean, for starters, we need to know, is the AI, is it Skynet? That's concern number one. But yeah, I would say the writers are probably in trouble. I mean, I guess that the gap between them kind of got larger, I suppose, last week. And I mean, what have the writers been producing for Disney? If you're Disney looking from a business perspective, uh, you're worth what you can produce for them. And it's like, what have they been producing? Like, what's their worth? And I think as we're about to get into, the writer's worth hasn't been worth much for Disney in a
No,
while.
you bring up a great point, because the real incendiary kind of thing that happened on Friday was that the WGA, and they're just part of this now. The actors have joined the writers, but the WGA, at least, they want to have a greater promise of assured health care from the studios, while at the same time the writers aren't writing. And guess what? Artificial intelligence is never going to make any kind of healthcare demands out of their contractors. So I'm fully on board with you. And the thing to me is, let's say that all things are equal, right? So let's say that you have 10 writers with no artificial intelligence tools to help them, and you have 10 writers who have artificial intelligence tools to help them. And let's say that one of those writers in the room with the artificial intelligence, that they are an expert in that area. They know the super prompts, they know the coding, the programming, etc. I've got a feeling, Michelle, that the one that has that level of expertise in that area, that their productivity will skyrocket past the group that's just humans alone. I'm sorry, but this is not something I think is revelatory to any of us. When I go to the store, I get in my car. I get in my car because it takes me there faster than if I walk there. So, this is the mundanity, I suppose, of the idea that studios need to stick with artificial intelligence as long as it continues to make their lives better. Do you think there's any way that studios can avoid it?
Probably not. And see, I have a question that maybe even would be good for you to answer for your audience. So when we're talking about studios using AI, is the AI going to write a full script on its own, or is the AI used the way like the MLB, like the managers have been using AI or statistics and computer stuff lately to figure almost, does that make sense? Is the AI there to help them, or is the AI there to do it?
Right. Yep. Okay. So it's a rather difficult answer to give, because it could be either. And it also depends on how far into the future we look. Now, what I would say about this is that it seems to me that even as far into the future as you can project, it probably makes sense to have artificial intelligence coupled with a human. I don't see how artificial intelligence by itself is better than artificial intelligence plus a brain. I just think that combination is better. At this point, I think we're in the realm where a very good prompter of artificial intelligence can tell it what to give in terms of a script, and it can provide a skeleton or a rough draft, and then the writers take that and they move forward with it and make something even better, right? They add the human touch. I think in terms of like writing articles or providing research papers, artificial intelligence is probably already as good as humans, and possibly better, maybe orders of magnitude better. And well, let me say this, Michelle. So if you have artificial intelligence tools available to you, ChatGPT, etc., and you're in a writer's room, you have an innumerable degree of PhD students ready at your whim. So let's say that you're doing a crime scene investigation inside your script. Typically, what you would have to do there is, if you've never done that before, if your writer's room isn't familiar, you've got to get someone who knows about that. So you've got to call in an expert to talk you through that process so that you can write the script in a way that makes sense and is accurate to reality. But if you have artificial intelligence, you can just query it on any number of domains in the entire world, and it's likely to give you, the exact way that these things proceed on any level, right? So from botany to forensics. It doesn't matter. The artificial intelligence can make you sound and look and seem as if you are fully competent in this area. I think that's partially one area. The area that I think that humans still have the edge and will for a while is comedy. I think that artificial intelligence is significantly worse at comedy.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think, the AI thing does weird me out. I will be real with that. I do hate the idea of humans losing more jobs to machines, as we've seen that in the automobile and so many different industries. But it is hard not to at least use it with the humans, I think, because even if it was just kind of showing them running stats and things of this is what the audience wants, I actually think that would be very helpful for studios, because we all know since 2016, there have been very few things of, especially big studios, I should say, with IPs that we know and love, of giving the audience what they want. I would have to say if an AI would have been working with Rian Johnson, it would have told him, you probably don't want to do, we're probably just going to scrap a lot of things, but we're definitely not going to kill off Luke Skywalker.
I can hear the AI right now speaking to Rian Johnson and saying, for once in my life, I agree with Mark Hamill. Don't do this, you moron, you round-headed moron. But but anyway, and I agree with you. I think that it would be worlds better if you had a system where you brought people into the theater on day one and you had some sort of tracking system where it could watch their facial expressions, of course, permission granted from these individuals who participate in it. But to get that sort of data back in terms of what did people actually enjoy versus our very rudimentary 50-year-old kind of way that we do current modeling, cinema score, right, is one example, where we just ask people after the movie's over. But people often don't really give you an accurate portrayal of what they really think. I know that's crazy, but it's true. And we're complicated creatures, so fair enough on that. But I do want to get into why Disney might be looking for artificial intelligence. We've held off discussing this perhaps even just a bit too long, but let's get to it now. Talking about Miss Marvel, moved over to ABC. Again, this is a show that was at the very bottom of Disney Plus in terms of performance, in terms of interest levels, and it's a lead-in to The Marvels, the movie coming out this November. Don't forget, Secret Invasion, same thing, same outcome. So Disney decided to put both of those on different platforms to try to gain some kind of traction. Secret Invasion goes to Hulu, which, by the way, may be part of Disney Plus very soon, we think in December. But Miss Marvel moved to ABC and put on ABC again with an effort to try to gather up some level of viewership. Did not go that way. I'm going to read now, and I'm going to pull this up, by the way. Let me pull, let's see, let's do this right here. No, we'll just go full screen on this. Okay, so there is the ratings that we have, folks, and I want to issue a very strong thank you to a new source who is really proving themselves to be just greatly beneficial to this channel. We appreciate all of our sources out there, especially the ones who put their necks out to give us the stuff we get. But thank you for providing this. Statistics on the ratings that we've seen in this time period. Let's read what we've got here, not just from this graphic that you all are seeing, but you're free to look at it in the video as we go through this. But here's the message I received. It says, overall, the night, talking about the night that Miss Marvel debuted, the night averaged 780,000 viewers and a 0.11 in the key 18 to 49 demo. This is a Saturday night. Practically no one watches TV on a Saturday night anymore, but we've got to compare what aired with the previous few Saturday nights on ABC, right? We want to get an idea of how this performed in consideration and in a comparison. On the 29th of July, the UFC prelims and a prank panel averaged 943,000 viewers and a 0.25 in the 18 to 49 demographic. So, when you have reruns beating Miss Marvel, that's something. And then also on July 22nd, a night of Shark Tank. This, again, a rerun, averaged 1.32 million viewers and a 0.17 in the 18 to 49 demo. Basically, if you compare with regular non-sports fare, or anything for that matter, linear TV viewers were much more interested in reality show reruns than Disney Plus cast-off programming. People might say, oh, but ABC didn't promote Miss Marvel, but that's not true. They did. They ran spots day of air, and this programming stunt got a good amount of slobbering online press. Oh, this source is great in what they say. Much more than anything else from Disney Plus that has ever aired on broadcast. What didn't get promoted was a night of Shark Tank reruns. Goes on to say, while the strategy of putting Disney Plus programming on ABC and other networks likely has more to do with accounting than ratings, and folks, don't forget promoting those movies, it is telling that these streaming shows have zero upside when it comes to linear viewership. Furthermore, if the goal was to try to drum up any kind of early enthusiasm for the Marvels, the strategy failed there as well and only reinforced the fact that one of the three main characters is not a draw. This flies in the face of a lot of glowing online media coverage, which dubbed it strike programming and said it's also a great promotional tool to raise awareness about other Marvel streaming series and the new film, The Marvels. Turns out it did not work out that way for the Marvels at all. Michelle, are you surprised that even if you put this thing on a Saturday night on ABC, where you would think that there's just a built-in audience of people who just turn on the TV, right? It's not true. It's getting destroyed by other channels that you would never expect to beat a Marvel show. Surprising at all to you?
No. I just think that the shows that they've done for Marvel and a lot of Star Wars, they've just been so poor and so bad. And they really are this. The Disney Plus shows have never figured out what they are, because they're not like the typical like 43-minute show or 22-minute show. I know 30 and an hour minute show, but that's the actual times when you take away the commercials on an ABC. So they're not that type show that's a weekly show that if you miss one episode, it's not a huge deal. They're not that type show, but they're also not a Stranger Things show that's basically like one continual story, like a big long movie. And I just don't really know where these shows fit, and I don't think they have much rewatchability outside maybe the first 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. And I mean, I think we see even with Disney Plus, there's just not a lot of interest at this point for this, because we kind of know what we're getting now, and we've just all checked out.
So Disney is clearly not getting a sufficient return on investment when it comes to their Marvel programming. Definitely not of their Star Wars programming on Disney Plus. And it seems to me that when you remove the veil that hides how bad these shows perform by putting them on linear broadcast where we can get these kinds of numbers, we're not going to tell exactly how we got it, but it seems to me that it really demonstrates just how little interest there is whatsoever. Michelle, how would you go about fixing this? Like, what does the audience want? What do consumers want to see out of Marvel if we're going to do TV shows or we're going to do streaming shows? What would be better than this?
Well, for starters, they want like good TV. In my personal opinion, and I know it was darker and bloodier than they want for Disney Plus, but Disney Plus has yet to produce something from Marvel that is anywhere in the same realm of close to the Daredevil series on Netflix.
It's a great
And
point.
again, that was kind of like they kind of did a Stranger. Netflix knows what they're doing with streaming. It's not the serial type show on ABC. It's telling one continual story. So I think they don't really have an identity with their television shows on Disney Plus, and they need to first figure that one out. Like maybe copy shows like, and when I say copy, I don't mean like what they did, but copy the format of a Stranger Things, of a Wednesday that did really well, and just tell 8 episodes of one continual story. I mean, surely with the help of AI, you can get some writers that can come up with that.
So Loki season 2 is coming out. It's had the most views for a Disney Plus show in terms of the trailer. We don't know what the views will be like for the actual show, but the trailer got people excited for some reason. Are you going to be tuning in for Loki season 2?
I haven't seen Loki season 1.
Oh! Well, I have to say,
enough people in the chat, in the comments below, tell me that I should watch Loki, then maybe I will.
I think another reaction video is on the way. I will tell you that there are 3 or 4 episodes of the season 1 Loki that are supreme. I mean, the first 2 episodes of the first season of Loki, it's some of the best television Disney has ever produced. The bad thing is, there are episodes that are also atrociously awful. And it's because they have different writers coming in to write these episodes. I think this is what's going on with the Star Wars stuff and with the Marvel stuff. They've got too many chefs in the kitchen. They have too many different visions. You've got some episodes of Loki where the person who came in, they just wanted to make a socio-political statement. And they said so. And they came out and, that was the whole point of them getting that episode and doing what they did. And it takes away from the overall arc when you switch from, something that's amazing to propaganda. And, I think this is a real problem for Disney is they need to get, I don't know how they're going to find a genius. It's not like you just go out to the store and find a genius. It's not like you could put out, a job description and say, hey, we need geniuses. Although I'm sure plenty of narcissists out there would come forth and say, I'm one of those. But, when you have a Lasseter, you've got something special. You've got the golden goose and you do everything to protect it. Disney did not. I know that's separate from Marvel, but in terms of Marvel, in terms of Star Wars, they need someone who can curate this, someone who cares and has a unified vision. And when they find those people, they need to stop destroying, and undermining that person, i.e. what we saw out of Favreau when he came in and had this vision for The Mandalorian and Star Wars, and he had the whole thing taken out from under him by the subterfuge of Kathleen Kennedy and the Gina Carano situation. It's just awful. But let me go to you for the last thought, Michelle.
Well,
we need to wrap up.
I think you're onto something there. I think that's something Disney Plus is missing with these Star Wars and Marvel shows, short of what Jon Favreau did with the first, especially. I think he got messed up by the Gina firing for season 3. But for the first 2,
threw away a whole show, right? The Rangers was gone.
Yes.
The whole
and he had to
roadmap
rewrite
was
a lot
gone.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you hit on something though. What makes a Stranger Things a Stranger Things? The Duffer Brothers had a passion and a vision for what they were doing. And I feel like Disney just gets writers for hire and they don't have any passion or vision for what they're doing. And I think that it's kind of like tender care and love, like that makes the difference, made with love. And I just don't think it's there, especially for Marvel and for most of Star Wars stuff.
Michelle, can I tell you that I'm a little worried about Stranger Things? Have you seen the recent
Oh
stuff?
gosh,
With them focus on Will?
I have seen that, and yeah, I know.
I'm a little worried if Stranger Things becomes a cultural statement, right, about modern day issues. I worry that it will undermine the power that has been the story of friendship. I think that's really at the heart of Stranger Things is this camaraderie. So I hope that they don't undermine it with the final season. I hope they don't suddenly jump the shark and try to say, no, it was always about this other thing. It's like, no, please don't earn your virtue points. You've created real art here. And I'll tell you this, there has never been not a single moment on Disney Plus in any of their shows. And perhaps this is why they need artificial intelligence, because their writers have never produced a single moment on par with when Dustin has to call Susie Q and he has to sing the never ending story while every other person on those walkie-talkies looks utterly confused as they're about to die and they're hearing, the song being sung. So Disney, you need a Dusty Buns moment. You need a Dusty Buns. All right, Michelle, where can people find your channel on YouTube and find many of those Dusty Buns moments? Because you just have epiphany after epiphany over there of insight into entertainment and movies.
Yes, you can find me and my sister at Force of Light Entertainment on YouTube, also on Twitter and Instagram.
Folks, don't forget, if you're watching this video on the day of its release, the Disney earnings call is today. 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time is when it starts, but coverage begins right here on this channel at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. We will then move over to the Valiant Renegade channel. You'll be auto-magically, as Goofy says in the Magic Kingdom, auto-magically moved on over to the Valiant Renegade stream as soon as the one here ends, and we will do wall-to-wall coverage of everything Disney. We have no idea. This could be great for Disney. It could be awful. I lean a little bit more towards the latter. But in terms of this conversation here, well, we're wrapping up. So drop a comment down below. And if you like content like this, like it, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. And folks, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Floral. It's time for you to walk the plank.
What? Why?
Cuz you haven't subscribed to WDW Pro yet. Nor bookmark thatparkplace.com on your web browser to get great articles from great contributors.
What?